Can you guys hear that in the background? That's a jackhammer going off right next door because we're having a new house built next door. It's a fucking Saturday. Ah! What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay, Chris. And like I said, I think we finally have some quiet time now that that jackhammer has subsided for now. So today we are going to be doing some spoiler talk and try to figure out and explain the ending of Joker. The film has officially been out for a couple of days now. I got to see it the week before. It has now been officially released on Thursday here in Australia and worldwide. The response has been amazing, overwhelming. It's been just crazy and just crazy cool to see everyone's reaction and just acceptance of this film because it is just so different and it is so ballsy. So yes, today is going to be some spoiler talk and try to figure out and explain the ending of this film. So ye be warned, spoilers lay ahead. If you have not seen the film yet, I advise you to click off this video. You can actually check out my spoiler-free review. I will leave the link down in the video description because it's one of those movies where I highly advise not to have it spoiled. You need to go into this having no idea what to expect and what to happen and just have a fresh, clear mind. So like always, I have some notes on my phone so I do not forget anything, but I have a feeling that I am going to be forgetting something. With that being said, let's dive into it. So firstly, I want to talk about Arthur's condition where he laughs uncontrollably when he is placed in stressful situations or he himself is stressed or uncomfortable. I explained in my spoiler-free review that there is a scene where he's trying to entertain a little chap on the bus and his mother goes off at him and he starts uncontrollably laughing and he hands her a card saying, I have a condition where I uncontrollably laugh at times. And I think that is just a brilliant idea instead of just having, a man just have a manic Joker laugh for the sake of having a maniacal Joker laugh. And there is a scene where he is trying to perform stand-up comedy at a comedy club. And before he goes on stage, he's writing down notes about jokes and stuff and what to talk about and just taking notes on the performer that he's seeing on stage, the comedian who's performing on stage. And his laughs are not in sync or in tune with what you should be laughing at. He is laughing at the opposite of what everyone else is laughing at. And then when it comes time for him to come on stage and perform, he starts this absolutely painful looking laughing fit. It looks like it pains him from every square inch of his body, or a convulsion. His muscles are just contracting with this laughing fit. And again, that's the genius of Todd Phillips and the co-writer of this film. It was just something so different and so ballsy, and it just blended in perfectly with the subject of mental illness and mental and physical trauma / damage. Now, before I move on, one cool piece of movie trivia. So as we know, Arthur Fleck is a clown for hire in this film. His boss is played by Josh Pays. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Josh actually performed in the suit as well as provided the voice of Raphael in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action film from 1990. It was so cool to see him back on screen again. I lost a sigh! Then it is gone. Good times. Next up, we got to talk about the Wayne family. That is Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, and how they coincide and weave into the Flecks. And by that, I mean Arthur Fleck and Penny Fleck. So it was stated in the trailer, it wasn't really a spoiler, that Penny Fleck used to work for the Waynes. So it is revealed that Penny Fleck had an affair with Thomas Wayne. Or so we all thought, so she thought. Arthur then confronts a young 6-year-old Bruce Wayne in that really eerie scene at the front of Wayne Manor where he puts a smile on little Bruce's face. Alfred then comes along, scoops Bruce up, pretty much tells Arthur to piss off, and that's that. Arthur then confronts Thomas Wayne at a gala and says, I think I'm your son. Thomas Wayne completely shuts it down, goes on to say that Penny Fleck, Arthur's mum, is an absolute nutcase. Even though she did work for the Waynes, she was admitted to Arkham at one point, and she is, if not as insane, if not insaner than Arthur. Arthur then goes to Arkham Asylum, and going back to the production design, the cinematography, I love the look of Arkham out the front, and inside it is just One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He tries to get the case file of his mother. He then ends up stealing it, even though they would not hand it over originally. Goes on to say that she suffered from severe mental illness, much like Arthur. Now, here's where things start to get really interesting in terms of the story. So we see Arthur begin a relationship with a neighbor named Sophie, played by Zazie Beetz. She watches his performance at the comedy club. She sits with him at his mother's bedside after she has a stroke. The relationship struck me as odd as it was happening because she seemed very understanding and very supportive of someone who just seems so off the rails, even though she herself is quite grounded and sane. And then near the end of the movie, Arthur lets himself into Sophie's apartment and she discovers him there, and it's clear the two have no existing relationship whatsoever. You know, she recognizes him as a neighbor, that's all, and she's terrified of him. The sequence with her and Arthur together are replayed for the audience to make it clear that Arthur was alone in these moments and it was just all in his head. And that was such a great little hook and just up the ante in terms of how seriously ill this man is. Okay, Robert De Niro as Murray Franklin. Even though he didn't get much screen time, every time he was on screen, it was amazing, just all class, pure De Niro, and kind of honing in on the whole taxi driver / king of comedy vibe. So originally Murray Franklin gets a hold of the footage of Arthur performing on stage and bombing out at this comedy club and mocks him, makes fun of him, so much so that the Murray Franklin show actually calls up Arthur and asks would he like to perform on the show and do an interview on the show. Arthur agrees. Now by this point, Arthur has been practicing to go on stage in his living room. He also has a gun that was given to him by a co-worker, and I will be touching on that and the death count after I talk about this topic now, because I really want to talk about this because it's just been eating me up inside, but in the best way possible. We see Arthur practicing in his living room about how he should come out on stage, greet Murray, and just interact with Murray, the audience, and other guests. He then pulls the gun out and pretends to shoot himself through the head. So we figure at this point he's going to go out with a bang, literally, and kill himself live on telly. And my first initial thoughts were it's going to home back to the graphic novels where not only does he maybe kill himself, but Murray and the entire audience gas them, stuff like that. But then it struck me that Joker's a one-man operation. He's still trying to figure his stuff out. He doesn't have cronies, goons, a crew, anything. So it'd be highly unlikely that he'd be able to pull this off seamlessly. Arthur comes out on stage and he looks just final form. He has embraced being the Joker. He's done with being beaten down by Gotham and the people within it. And his posture has changed. He has gone from this skeletal, hunched over man to still skeletal, but shoulders back, embracing who he is, confident, cocky, dances out on stage, kisses one of the guests Murray Franklin has, sits down, just dispenses some of the most crudest and cringiest jokes, and at that point, pulls out his gun and shoots Murray Franklin straight through the head on live telly. And it was the most brutal and uncomfortable thing I've seen in cinema in a long time. It was simple, but the sound effects, the cinematography, the special effects in how De Niro was shot was quite disturbing and effective. Joker then runs up to one of the cameras in the studio and starts spewing out a message, and then he is apprehended and taken away. Now, as he's being hauled away in the cop car going through Gotham, it's pretty obvious that his actions have impacted a lot of people in Gotham, and they are taking to the streets, and it's just pure anarchy and chaos. And at that point, he realizes he has started something. He has something to live for now. He is an ideal, he is a legend, he is an icon. They see him as almost a god. And this is where we witness the murder of Martha and Thomas Wayne. I didn't know we were going to see it in this film. I thought they were just going to weave in and out of the storyline, and then that was it. But we do see them go down an alleyway, and one of Joker's disciples or followers chases them down in the alleyway, shoots Thomas Wayne, shoots Martha, and then Bruce is left with their bodies by his side. The cop car the Joker is traveling in is intercepted and taken down by, I'm pretty sure it was an ambulance, a hijacked ambulance. His unconscious body is pulled from the wreckage. He is laid on the bonnet of the cop car. He wakes up covered in blood, gets up on top of the cop car and realizes this sort of revolution he has started. You know, people in clown masks are cheering him on. They love him because of his ideals and what he has started, and people are all for it. He's got blood coming out of his mouth, and with that, he wipes on this even creepier, bloodier, bigger smile, and then that is sort of what I call Super Saiyan Joker. And then after that, we cut to Arthur in Arkham Asylum talking to a psychiatrist, a shrink, a caseworker, and that's when you think, is this all in his head? Has this been like American Psycho, where it's going to leave a lot of people divided, like I said in my spoiler-free review, but in the best way possible, because there's so much discussion to be had about this. Did this all happen, or was this all in his head? And the reason why we think is this all in his head, because of what happened with Sophie, Zazie Beetz' character. He imagined their relationship all in his head. The film ends with him walking down the corridor of Arkham Asylum with some bloody footprints and then chased by guards in pure Joker form and class. So now that all that's been covered, let's go back to the violence / body count. As far as I'm concerned, the body count is 6, and that's confirmed. Not in Arthur's head, but actually confirmed. We have the 3 yuppies on the train that Arthur takes down. We have Penny Fleck, his mother, who he suffocates in hospital after she has a stroke, and he realizes that she has actually treated him like shit throughout his entire childhood and was quite emotionally manipulative towards him. The 5th one is his co-worker who gives him the gun. He scissors him in the head to death, and much like Murray Franklin's death, that was just brutal and hard to watch. It's just amazing what sound effects and Foley can do in terms of impacting you within a scene. And then of course Murray Franklin, so that takes up to 6, maybe 6.5/7, because there is the scene where he's in Sophie's apartment and she realizes who he is, even though they've never had any interaction before, and he's walking out and there's the ambulance siren, so you don't know if he killed Sophie or not. And then there's also the shrink / caseworker at the end in Arkham Asylum. When he's walking out with the bloody footprints, you don't know if he's killed her or if it's just a manifestation inside his head. So Geeks and Geekettes, I hope I made sense with that spoiler talk and ending explained, or trying to figure out the ending. I don't do many of these videos, and I have watched Jeremy Jones's and Chris Stuckman's reviews. I was just so excited to finally see that they'd seen it and that they loved it and embraced it. So this film has definitely left a lasting impact on me, hence why I'm doing this video. Usually I don't do spoiler videos or ending explain videos, but I think this is going to be a film where people are going to talk about it for a very, very long time. And I think in the best way possible, because all that controversy, all that bullshit surrounding this film has it certainly has died down, and people have learned to relax and embrace it for what it is, embrace it for a character study, embrace it for beautiful cinema at its finest. So guys, hopefully you've seen Joker by now. If so, please drop a comment below and let me know just the impact it had on you. If you didn't dig it, drop a comment below and let me know what you didn't like about it. Were you expecting a lot more? I do know a lot of people were caught off guard with, you know, the lack of Easter eggs within the DC universe, and I think it's one of those things where you just have to realize this is definitely a standalone character piece about a man's descent into madness whilst it has been laid dormant inside of him the whole time. So guys, today is Saturday. Tomorrow I will finally be uploading the black suit regeneration Superman cosplay costume breakdown / demonstration. Filmed it a couple of days ago in the blistering heat in the workshop. There are some things that I weren't really happy with in the final cut. The belt was riding way too high, and I didn't realize it until I hit the editing side of the video, but you know, I put a note in the video that the belt usually rides a lot lower, so it kind of looks like Harry High Pants Superman style, but all in all, you know, I'm happy with the end result. There's still some things here and there to do and upgrade with the costume, but for the most part, another one ticked off the list. Guys, wherever you are in the world, have yourselves a cracker of a day. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.